you know, you gonna have them conversations with your son, man. Like, you know, Makai come over. I was like, hey, what he be doing? I used to ask him all type of questions, man. I ain't gonna lie. Like, yeah, what he doing? Hey, did you ever see him kiss your mom? I used to ask all type of questions. I was mad, boy. Hey, you ever kiss your mom? You go. Did they argue? Like, I'm trying to figure out how he treating Kwani, how intimate they are. So, like, I ain't gonna ask him like no sexual stuff, but you know, you can kiss in front of your kids or peck them, love you. That's it. I asked him that. I'm like, is he mean to you? I was asking him all type of questions. You know, Makai gonna tell me the truth about everything. You
We
know what I
got
mean?
the magic happening. Girl, the feeling is great and I'm loving it. Hey, we got the magic happening. Everything that we need, everything that we pay, girl, the magic's happening. And the feeling is great and this feeling is great, girl, the magic happening, happening, it's happening, yeah.
When I finally started dating, like after we were done, you know, like it's like now we single, you get to be as free and loose as you want to be, like let me live, and he would not let me live. I'm talking about if he even thought I was talking to somebody, he's popping up at my house. I can't tell you when I actually did like start dating. I don't want to say that was like a relationship. I would say dating because I was dating this guy for like a year, I want to say. They probably fought every time they seen each other, and it was because of Myron. It was literally because of Myron. I remember. It was because of him, because he just couldn't fathom like me, you know, his baby mama or me just dating somebody. He, oh my goodness, we got so many stories. Like I was talking to a friend a friend from high school, one of my friend's exes. I hadn't seen him since high school. I'm like, hey, how you doing? And we just chopping it up, and he must have pulled out his phone. I don't know if somebody was calling him or texting him, and Myron happened to walk past. Myron snatched this man's phone out his hand. Open it up. You just put our number in your phone. I'm like,
Oh man, I'm on.
he was so mad. Like he used to be so wild. Like he would not let me live. Like he did this literally for like a good almost 2 years, because one guy, like I said, the one that they fought every time pretty much they seen each other, I did date him for a year. And then like the other person I was dating, they just kind of like had words before, but like he even fought this one dude that I never even dated before. And the dude used to try to date me, and I used to tell him like, no, like I gotta, you know, just really tie up some loose ends with my son's father. Like we're not dating, we're not together, but he will not let me live. And he like, oh, that's just an excuse. You don't want to date me. I'm like, okay. And one day I seen him at the club. He was like, you know, what's up? You want a drink or whatever? And I think I declined the drink at the time. So that was it. He just happened to walk back and like, you good? You need anything? Myron seen that. Next thing I know, Myron came from like Superman somewhere and pushed this man. They got to fighting and stuff. So he made it very hectic for me to date in the beginning. Like very hectic.
Man, y'all gotta understand though. When I was growing up, I always said this one thing I said, and I stuck to what I said. I used to say I wanted 2 kids, but then once I had Makai got older, it just turned to 1. So I'm used to having 1. But I always said this though. I said whoever I have kids by, hopefully it's the person that I was in love with, not just a baby mama. You get what I'm saying? Like not a girl I just had sex with. Boom. So I fell in love with Kwani. She had my kids, so it was, and this is my first girl I ever loved in my life. Other than that, I was just being just me. I can just smash and leave. But boom, so it was all right. So with me being so in love, despite all the other stuff I was doing, like even when we broke up, man, I couldn't accept that, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I wouldn't let her talk to nobody. But Kwani leaving that stuff. This is the thing. Even when we broke up, a lot of stuff we did to each other while we didn't even have a title. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like she said, I made it hard for her to date. It's times Kwani be double standard. She was double standard. I'm gonna give you a perfect example. That same guy she said that I fought for a year, right? That I kept on fighting for a year. This was in the beginning. Me and her, this was in the beginning of them. She probably just started talking to him. But we wasn't sexually active, but I would spend the night over there sometimes, you know, at Kwani house, and we was laying in her bed, and her phone rung at like 2 something in the morning. And I seen it was dudes, so I get mad and mother. You know, what you calling you so late for? Ooh, right? And she acted as she was, how you gonna get mad, whatever. I don't remember how the conversation went, but I reacted. Fast forward, a couple months later, I'm laying in that same bed with Kwani, and this girl called my phone late at night, and we ain't together, and she reacted the same way I reacted. That's what people don't know. So my friend,
but I wasn't fighting the girls. I
didn't snatch the phone out of the girl's hand before too.
I did that because you did. I ain't understand why you did it. Like I'm like, we not together. So then he snatches the phone out the dude's hand, but then 10 minutes later, he in a girl face getting her number. So I threw both of their phones. Like, you want to make my dating life hell? I'm gonna make your dating life hell. But it wasn't like I was just out the gate doing this stuff. Like That was him out the gate. I was kind of being tit for tat. Like, you gonna see how it feel kind of situation.
I just felt like you cared still.
Maybe.
That's why I did it, because I cared. You act like you didn't care, but when we was doing it, my friends didn't even want to go out to the club with me no more, man. They used to be like, all my friends, they like, man, we ain't going to the club with you no more, man. You fight every time. Because I was no person to try to get them, like, hey, bro, I'm finna go do this. I just do it. And they had to see an altercation and come. You know what I mean? And they used to be mad, like, man, we ain't going out with you no more. But they didn't know. I'm like, bro, y'all don't understand. Like, y'all see all me, because I never hid my feelings in public, right? Kwani, just tough person. She gotta act like she don't care, but behind closed doors, she care like a mother. And I knew that. I'm like, bro, y'all don't see what she be doing.
I care, but it didn't affect him dating or nothing like that.
But y'all see me doing this, and it's because, you know why? When I'm in the club, if it was girls I was dating with, I was messing with, I didn't let it be known. I felt like Kwani was just so open. If it was a dude that she,
because we was single.
But me, I guarantee you, if Kwani had one guy in there, I probably got like 6 girls there that I was fucking on. But I was like, when they hugged me, I was dapping them like this, like, my baby mama here, but they don't know why I'm doing that. I'm giving them this, and I ain't even trying to get that energy because I knew deep down if she seen that, she would feel some type of way. So I wouldn't have said, I wouldn't have went over there and punched him or nothing like that. I would have just made it hard for him. Like, if he called me the next day, like, can I come over? No, well, you just hugging somebody in the club? Like, but I wouldn't have been trying to fight him or nothing like that. It's the same difference. I showed mine there, but it's like, if I knew she seen this, I knew where I still wanted to be. So if I allowed her to see too much, I wasn't going to be able to still come over there and do what the fuck I was doing.
Exactly.
So it was like, I was younger too, but it was like, people was thinking I was just a crazy when it
He was, though.
I'm like, I was crazy, but Kwani cared too, y'all. Don't let
I care, but I did not act on it. You acted on it.
To me and you.
So when it came to like dealing with my relationship with my daughter's mom and co-parenting with my ex, you know what I'm saying? Well, at the time, my ex-wife, I would just always try to keep everything as separate as possible, you know, because it's like, I don't want any unnecessary run-ins. You know, I don't want any unnecessary words to be thrown. I don't want any unnecessary emotions. I want everybody to just kind of move past this bad spot that we in and just, hey, this is life. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't have to beef. You know, I don't have to beef with you to co-parent with you. And two, like, hey, I'm moving on. You know what I'm saying? And so I had my daughter, and it was just like, when I was with her mom, you know, I would always, if we had any problems, I would go talk to my family. Like, but I would always make sure, like, I did everything I was supposed to do with co-parenting with Sharice, because I didn't want a person to see like you're moving on and you're moving on with the new family. You're forgetting about your son. You're forgetting about your daughter that you already had. You're just forgetting about everything in your past, and you just trying to move on. So it was like, I would always definitely keep my eye on my relationship at my then time, my daughter's mom. And after a while, I just honestly, like, I became so cutthroat, and I just stopped caring. Like, you know, well, I don't care how Sharice feel. I'm just getting my son, and however you feel is how you feel. Like, that's on you. And I think me just kind of like stopping and stop caring about how everybody felt just kind of made me focus more on me, and I got real selfish. And I just kind of went to a point of where it's like, well, hey, I'm a co-parent. I'm going to be with you. You better not say nothing about my relationship with my co-parent's relationship with her. And you better not say nothing about my relationship with my daughter's mama. Like, both of y'all just, I'm dealing with you, I'm dealing with you, and I'm dealing with you, I'm dealing with you. That should be it. It really shouldn't even be no run-ins. So that's kind of like how I dealt with it. You know what I'm saying? Like, through our divorce and with me and her having to co-parent.
Yeah, I think honestly, he said he got really cutthroat. I could see that because, you know, he just a cutthroat man. You know, he hard. He don't play that. It's natural. But in him doing that, I think the thing that I picked up that he would do, like, interactions between us were shorter. Like, they were cut shorter. So, like, phone calls or when little Eric would FaceTime or something like that, it was really just, you know, hey, where's Eric? Eric's done, click. Where before it was just like, hey, so what's going on, and this and this and that. I was able to speak to him more. But part of me, I didn't take offense to that because I understood. Like, it's another woman in your home right now, and out of respect, like, I get it. You know what I'm saying? And so if I need extra talk about what he's doing, I would shoot him a text. But I can understand as a woman how it would be triggering to hear another woman's voice in your home a lot. So I'm like, let me respect that. Let me just have him talk to his son. And then, you know, anything else, shoot him a text. Or even with me in dating, like I said, I didn't date often. I didn't like nobody. So my kids it was just me and them. So they saw me by myself. So I maintained the balance of my kids' schedule. And then outside of that, the relationship that I had to balance was the relationship with me, which is how, you know, I launched my healing journey. A lot of good stuff came out of that. I started writing books. I started an organization. I started partnering with women. And so I balanced the relationship with me to be a better co-parent with him.
So I was a little reluctant when it was time to meet Kelly because of a previous experience that I had with Chris and a young lady that he was, I'm going to say, friends with at the time. And she would message me on Facebook saying, you know, it's time we meet. Since I'm going to be in Chris and your daughter's life and this, that, and the other. So I screenshotted it and I sent it to him. I said, you better get her before I get her. And you don't want me to respond to this because, and again, I don't know what his relationship was with her. And I was just like, I'm not in the mood. And I know if I respond, it's going to be real, real bad. So whatever. So I let him take care of that part with her. And it was just kind of like, this is so annoying. But as a previous discussion, we did talk about, you know, if there's going to be somebody around our kid, like it, obviously the courteous thing to do is for us to meet whoever this person is. Like he, you know, would have me meet whoever he was dating. And then if I was dating anybody and they was around our kid, then he will meet that guy as well. So I remember picking up my baby and we're on our way home and she's like, Kelly, this, Kelly, that. Mind you, she's only 1.5 years. So obviously Kelly is a super easy thing to say for a small child like that. And I'm like, who is Kelly? So I text Chris or called him or whatever and was like, who is Kelly? And basically it was someone that he was dating. And so I'm like, oh, okay. And then kind of left it at that. And then I want to say a few days later or maybe a week later, he wanted me to meet her. And so I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool. And then in my mind, I was like, okay, well, I got to be open-minded because this is something that we talked about. So I'm just like, I'm not, I'm not fully ready for this, but it is what it is. And so I was headed to his apartment to pick up the baby. And I had a really crappy day at work, so I was super annoyed. And then I was on a phone call when I pulled up to his apartment, and I can't remember what Chris had did in that moment, but I was kind of snapping at him while he was buckling her into her car seat. And so she came out and she's on the driver's side of the car. And so I'm steady, at his head, and I was like, okay, this is okay. I gotta chill out. I need to get it together. And so she came to the window and she was like, hi, I'm Kelly, woo woo. And I was like, hi, I'm Grace, nice to meet you. And that was kind of it for that particular moment. It was just a quick meet and greet, which was cool. And then I remember calling my best friend right after that because she knew that was what I was on my way to do. And so she's kind of giving me my little prep talk too, you can't be this, you can't be that. And I'm like, I'm grown, I know what I'm doing, I know how to handle people. I was like, but of course, if she's rude, then I'm gonna be rude back. But when we finally finished that meet and greet, I called her back and she was like, how was it? I was like, she seems pretty nice. I was like, but we'll see, because, everybody, well, not everybody, but some people do put on a face when they're meeting people, and it's you meet their representative first, and then you just got to wait and see if that's the real person or if that's somebody else. And so I was like, well, we'll see, but she she seems cool, but we'll see. And that was like the gist of meeting her. And then still like in the back of my mind is like, okay, what kind of woman is this? Like, is she, hopefully she not like the previous girl where she gonna be, messaging me, talking about this, that, or the other. And, me still being in the growing stage, I'd be like, text Chris and be like, hey, you need to handle this before I handle it because, he's known me for a long time. And it's like, if I have to handle it, it's not gonna work out the way that he would probably want it to work out. So, that will always be my way of kind of being the mature person is like, okay, well, this is, something you should handle, and I'm just going to let you handle it. And then if it happens again, I'm just going to handle it myself. And that was, the situation at that time, and that's how I met Kelly. And she's been good with me ever since.
Once I got into a new relationship and trying to balance co-parenting with him, it was very uncomfortable at first because I still knew how Myron felt about me, and we was still just really learning the co-parenting. Even though we had come a long way and we was much better than we were when we first started, we were only so good when we first started because I wasn't really like in a relationship. Like, yeah, I was dating and talking to people, but it was nothing solidified or serious to the point where it was like, okay, now this person is really, really in my son's space or whatever. So at first it was very uncomfortable. And it affected my dating, not affected, but it kind of like, I was very mindful of how soon I had him around my son, for the sake of just out of respect for Myron. And two, just making sure like this is a thing, like is this gonna last? Because if it's not, then there's no point of you meeting my son. There's no point of you being around him. So then like, of course, me wanting Myron to get him a little more so I could spend a little more time with him. Like he made that rough for me a little bit. But then, because the person that I was the person that we was dating, the person that I was dating, you was messing me up. The person that I was dating, he has children as well. So, that was a whole nother thing with his co-parenting situation. So, just that part was easy as far as like him not overstepping any boundaries and being respectful of the pace that I wanted to go at as far as like integrating, my son with our relationship and then my situation with Myron. But as far as like those two, never was an issue. Never was an issue. I just never needed to bring the two together. Like Myron knew, okay, I'm with this person. If you want to have a conversation, y'all can. This person know that this is Makai's dad. He's very hands-on. Like, I just need you to be my man. And when we live together, be that adult figure for him in the household, and bond, whatever. But like he has his dad or whatever. So at first it was very uncomfortable. Just because of the personal space that me and Myron were in, even though we hadn't been dating for a couple years, like it always has been that like, let's get back together, let's make our family work or whatever, even though he was out doing him and I was doing me. But overall, with time, it just got better. With time, dating, I found a balance. It got easier once we all were on the same page. He knew, okay, I got somebody, I'm going to have our son around him. That just made it easier. That made the balance much, much better.
So when Kwani started dating a new guy, obviously that means my son had to be around him. You know what I mean? I didn't think it was, I was hoping it wasn't nothing serious at first, so I was trying to find reasons to be mad. Like, oh, you got my son around some random dude, it was to make her feel bad, like, stuff like that. But time passed, man, like a couple years or something, this same dude still around. I'm like, oh, this real. You know what I'm saying? Like, she really messing with dude. You know what I'm saying? So it kind of blew me. So with this being my first son and being in a situation like this for the first time, it was like, I don't want my son around no other man. Even though me and my son relationship was like we like super tight. It was like I didn't want no man showing my son something that I haven't showed him yet. You know what I mean? It could be something simple or trying to redo things that I've done with him already. You know what I mean? So like once I realized it was serious, you know what I mean? It kind of blew me. You know what I'm saying? Like damn. But it was really blowing me like, cause it was different multiple times. Like, you know, I call and or something, and Makai might be going with Ryan or doing something. Like she said, particularly that one time when he took him to the courts. I'm like, man, you know, I done took this boy to the courts every day. I'm the one who usually love basketball. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing all this. Now you got this new dude coming talking about I'm gonna take him to the court. Like, you ain't finna jump on the. My mind said you trying to jump on the bandwagon. You ain't taking my son to no courts. And you know what I'm saying? But I had to grow out of that and understand. And then it was like, you know, you gonna have them conversations with your son, man. Like, you know, Makai come over. I was like, hey, what he be doing? I used to ask him all types of questions. Man, I ain't gonna lie. Like, yeah, what he doing? Hey, did you ever see him kiss your mom? I used to ask all types of questions. I was bad, boy. Like, you ever kiss your mom? You go, did they argue? Like, I'm trying to figure out how he treating Kwani, how intimate they are. So like, I ain't gonna ask him about no sexual stuff, but you know, you can kiss in front of your kids or peck, love you. That's it. I asked him that. I'm like, is he mean to you? I would ask him all types of questions. You know, Makai gonna tell me the truth about everything. You know, he just like running water. Boom. But he was saying that, and he told me that the dude was fun. Man, I was pissed off when he told me that, man. He said, "Oh, he's fun." What you mean he's fun, man? I wanted to hear something bad, so I got an excuse to be mad. You know what I'm saying? But he said he was fun. I'm like, man, you know what I'm saying? I ain't know how to accept that, you know. But then time passed, you know, and it's just like, you know what? You gotta grow up. You gotta get put in certain situations and be uncomfortable, you know. And then we go to games, and what was really hard for me is we going to these games. And Kwani coming with her whole family. They got her daughter in the stroller, Ryan, Makai. But Makai will be with me. Sometimes he rides mine, but you know, I'm going to tournament. But I'm sitting at the game, and I'm just sitting up and looking at it like this motherfucker. I'm with the whole family. And I'm sitting over here watching the game. You know, at the time, I was having fun enjoying my son's game, so it didn't kill my vibe. I was regular, but it was like, boom. You know what I mean? Then they posting videos. Like, they go to the swimming pool part. And the trips I couldn't go to because I'm out of time. He in the pool throwing the kids in the water. I'm like, man, he doing what I'm supposed to be doing. He in there throwing my son in the water, they screaming, they having a good time. I'm like, what the hell is going on? Like, this is a real relationship. You got this dude over here tossing my son in the water, like, don't. Now I'm mad, like, he better not drown my son. I'm trying to find any reason to get mad. And then my son drowned. I was trying to find any reason to try to find something, man. But, like I said, it was cool, though, man. Like me and dude never bumped heads. I ain't got nothing bad to say about him. Like, you know what I mean? Makai ain't never said nothing. Whatever happened with him and Kwani, that's their business, so I can't, you know, she's still in one piece, so. I would have helped her if he, you know, I'm kind of Superman, but I didn't have to.
When it comes to discipline, I believe in exactly how I was raised and how my mama was raised, and spare the rod, spoil the child. I believe if you mess up bad enough, you're supposed to get messed up too. Like I don't think it's enough hands in this room to count how many times I've got a whipping in a month.
We got the magic happening. Girl, the feeling is great and I'm loving it. Hey, we got the magic happening. Everything.